Yes. Today on episode of Patak, I would like to welcome our two guests from Paris, that is Bhavya Agarwal and Prachidi. So basically, Heidi. These two, my, you can call as an elder guardians because these doing Paris, doing masters in Paris, and they are very much like connected to me from somewhere. So, if I go to Bhavyadi is doing masters in economics discussions. Uh, like इन्हें 3 साल हो गए हैं पेरिस में. So I think आप दी 2021 में पेरिस गए थे. So she has also done his bachelor's from Gargi College, and Prachidi is doing its master's in fine arts in filming. She also went to Paris back in 2021, and she's also done her bachelor's from MIT University, Noida. I'm correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So this is the intro of my two guests today. So I would like to ask you guys also about your intro. Just add on something कि जो मैं miss कर गया हूँ.
I think you spoke almost whatever is there for us to tell right now. But yeah, मैं नोएडा से आती हूँ and I've done my bachelor's from Amity as you just said. और 2021 में I came here to do my master's in filmmaking from ICAR Film and Television School. And so it's almost been 2.5 years and I just graduated. I finished my master's in November 2023.
And to add, so as you already said, so my name is Bhavya and I've completed my master's in economics from Paris School of Economics and École de Pont Paris State. And again, we both came in the year 2021 around September. And that's how we met because we were living around the same place. And eventually it has been 2.5 years, a good roll of 2.5 years. And hopefully let's go on and then we will go on to tell us more about our life.
Okay. So इसी से start करते हैं. How your life is going in Paris? क्या चल रहा है अभी currently? आपकी जो masters थी वो complete हो चुकी है या होने वाली है? कितना time बचा है? All those stuff.
So अभी तो technically all international students, what they go through is like the post-masters job search struggle. That's what we are going through right now. Recently in November only we did our masters, and after that you have all this administrative stuff that you have to start with. Like for us, we have to have an APS visa, which allows us to do work search for the next 2 years after our masters in Paris. So we have just finished doing all that stuff where we got a visa so that we can start work searching, because as on student visa you cannot work here. You can do part-time jobs as student jobs, but once you've done your masters, it's important कि आप APS visa लो, which allows Indian students specifically to get for 2 years a visa so that you can search for work as well as you can start working with the same visa. So अभी हमारा वही चल रहा है. Hopefully we get some good work that we are looking for. Yeah.
So आपका masters complete हो गया है?
Yeah. Both of us have completed our masters and I completed way earlier than her. So, the period right now is actually a lot of exploration. We are facing a lot of, new things to see about, okay, where are the shortcomings, where are the strengths. So these are the things that we're getting to know every month. And actually the intention is to find a good position which is coherent with our career lines. Because even if we are getting an option or even if we are getting an opportunity, it's not something we are looking forward for. And so right now it's a tricky situation, but I think it's a normal procedure for everyone.
Yeah.
It's not something which is unique to us.
So it's like कि आपका masters हो गया, education purpose is finished, and now you are exploring Paris somehow.
Yeah,
अभी job की भी tension नहीं है, and पढ़ाई की भी नहीं है.
अभी job की भी tension है.
Actually, अगर हम अपनी बात करें तो exploration as students, we have always done it.
Yeah.
I know that this is not something which was common to be seen among the students who were coming in Paris. But for us, we were always the ones who were taking the initiative to go and explore this and go and explore that and go and explore this. So by now, I think we are the ones who know a lot about Paris. So we are like, yeah. If you're coming to Paris, just take us as your guides. Okay.
Oh.
But yeah, so now what we are exploring is the job sector,
Yeah.
which we didn't explore in the first year that much.
And also Paris is quite changing because इस साल यहाँ Olympics होने वाले हैं.
Yeah.
So the job sector is also quite different right now for international students. Plus all administrative stuff अभी थोड़ा यहाँ पे lag कर रहा है because they are like burdened with so much administrative work right now because of the Olympics. कि everything is kind of slow even in the job market, even visa work or anything that you want to do.
Yeah, when you talk about Paris, it's like the administrative work is always like something.
It's a struggle.
It's a struggle. You are coming here and you are like, okay, this and that and this and that. But right now, because of the Olympics, they are also a lot pressurized by the amount of application that they're getting.
Yeah.
So the administrative work is a little bit slower than what it usually seems to be.
So like the जो आप course कर रहे थे that is masters in economics and in filmmaking.
Yeah.
So like आप थोड़ा सा elaborate कर सकते हैं like each one of you कि कितने साल का होता है वहाँ पे fee structure क्या होता है. If an Indian student or if my viewer, any of the viewer wants to apply to in Paris or the particular school or college you are in which you are enrolled. So like अगर उसमें वो करना चाहता है तो थोड़ा सा उसे एक like blueprint टाइप से मिल जाए कि हाँ ये फी स्ट्रक्चर होता है, इतने साल का कोर्स होता है, डिफिकल्ट होता है, इजी होता है. So
I mean, like if I take a step back for any kind of student who is coming for doing any master's, I think to result or to counter upon कि Paris is a place to come to is always something which doesn't strike directly, you know. Even in like there is some kind of perception where we don't see France as a educational country.
It's more like travel.
It's more like travel. Like Paris is always considered as a fancier option, but it's not ever considered as an education option. So
like it's more of a creative person.
Mostly like you want to be like pastry chefs or something in like confection.
Yeah.
Do come here for classes or masters and all, but for technical courses or any other courses, it's not that famous. Now it is getting because the French government is very welcoming to international students.
Yeah, and now also there is much more popularity around it. Like people are trying to understand about the fact that how France as a country can be very lucrative for especially Indian students. So there's a lot of benefits that we are getting right now as students and then additionally as Indian students. So I think first step for any person who wants to pursue masters in abroad should be to see whether France is a country where they can have that kind of skills. They should consider it as an equivalent in front of UK or US. You know, because that are the countries which are like very advertised in our families, in our surroundings. But I mean, that's what I would suggest firstly. And then secondly, how I landed up on masters in economics. It was somehow, I mean, I would say it was kind of luck that I came to know about Paris School of Economics. And after coming here is when I actually got to know that PSC was touted as to be one of the best research schools in France in itself. An amount of prospects regarding research that it was providing. So my master's in economics was like, that is a very short name which I've given you, but I have a longer name which is like economic decision and CBA, which is cost benefit analysis. So the thing is that if you're looking for research, then this is a place to come to. You will be provided with ample opportunities. You will be provided with ample abilities to increase your skills. If you're coming for research, and if you are looking for going forward to PhD. So there are 3 courses which are given in my school, 4 courses which are given in my school, and 2 of them are highly developed for upgrading your skills. And my course was for 1.5 years, and the other 2 courses was for 2 years. And yeah, and then what else am I supposed to say at the end?
Like आपका जो है आपका एक टेक्निकल एस्पेक्ट हो गया कि यू आर सेइंग कि जो रिसर्च वगैरह में या जो टेक्निकल एस्पेक्ट में स्टूडेंट्स वांट्स टू गो टू पेरिस और वांट्स टू डू समथिंग, सो पेरिस इज अ वेरी गुड ऑप्शन फॉर देम in next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, because I feel See, there are two things when one student should divide. Firstly, is the student life. You know how feasible you are in your as a student life, and whether you are being taught which will help you in the longer run. So if a person, for example, like if a person is coming for research, so I can very well verify the fact that if you're coming to a school like PSC and you're doing a course there, then your skills will be upgraded in like in the period which they teach you. So that they grill you. Like grilling is the is the right
PSC
word.
is known for that.
PSC is known for that. Like there were other people who were in college with me in PSC who were the other courses, and all of us were like grilled. By the end of it, we were not used to the kind of education that was being provided for. It was completely different from what we were used to in my bachelor's. And the second thing is like you need to understand about what is your target sector after. Okay. So these are the two things that you need to focus upon. So if you are coming with experience and if you're looking for something to go into research or if you're looking to go forward into PhD, this is the best option. Like no way you will be put, you will be like, there'll be no kind of hindrance. That's what I'm saying. Like there'll be, of course, all the time a push. You will always find some kind of an opportunity to go forward. The only place where there'll be a little bit of hindrance will be if you're going to a corporate, because the language here in France is French.
Okay.
So
the language can be a barrier.
Yeah,
it will be a barrier.
It will be a barrier.
Whether it's your daily life, whether it's your professional life, anything. Other than the course, of course, most students from India will pick up courses in English. But at the same time, when you go out, French is the norm. Like you cannot expect people here to come and talk to you in English. Even though Paris is such a global city, language will be a barrier. And I think we learned it also hard way. And also like we were aware, but we were not like
serious about it.
Yeah.
We were always told about it.
Yeah.
We were always aware, and we also tried to do things by our own side, but we were never so serious that we like we need to talk, we need to do this, we need to
Also there is an image of Paris that people think I personally thought that it's a global city, so people will be there who speak English. Maybe it was my ignorance on my part. But when you come here, even though it's a global city, you will have to know at least some basic French so that you can conduct your daily life. And professional life may, except for I think research work you can still get without knowing French much. And also in professional you can get work which where they require you to speak English, but at the same time your colleagues are going to be French people, so they're going to talk in French. So how are you gonna tell them what you did in your day or about your work or what they're doing? So that will become like a barrier for you in the workplace.
To become socialized.
Plus, French people do not socialize much because they also feel the insecurity sometimes that they don't speak English. So they also keep a step back. So for them to open up, the first thing is that you better start with French. At least show them that you're taking the effort to speak in French, even though you don't know the language. Just an effort, like just salutations in French are enough for them to like start a conversation with you.
Yeah, so this has been our personal experience. Like when we came here, we were talking in English, and people like we used to come across people who can speak English. And we were making effort, but then we understood that even when you were talking, we were not part of the discussion. We were not part of the internal discussion. And I think it is not coming from the fact that these people do not want to. Like it's mostly coming from the fact like they are hesitant, we are hesitant. We are hesitant to speak French, they are hesitant to speak English, and that's why the flow of communication is not that right.
I think
so. The basic, please.
International students, everyone should like whoever is planning to come to study in France should keep language in their mind. Definitely, they should start some classes before coming to Paris, or at least start classes when they come here because language is important. So that has to be your priority when you move here. Yes.
Okay. So like Bhavya told, key technical or research aspects say Paris is growing and it's very good for a student from India to go to Paris if he wants to build his career, his or her career, and like research and technical work. So you are in film shooting and it's more of a creativity work. ठीक है, तो लाइक मैं आपका पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू जानना चाहता हूँ, बिकॉज मैंने जैसे पेरिस को कभी देखा है तो इट्स मोर ऑफ अ लाइक क्रिएटिव एरिया,
Yeah.
मतलब एक टेरिटरी वो वैसी है कि लाइक पोएट्स होते हैं वहां पर, एंड मोर ऑफ लाइक रोमांस और वो सब चीजें। ठीक है, तो रिसर्च और टेक्निकल एस्पेक्ट से तो कभी मैंने वो देखा नहीं है, तो लाइक आपका एक्सपीरियंस क्या है या आपका सजेशन क्या है फॉर अ स्टूडेंट जो क्रिएटिविटी में आगे जाना चाहता है, वो पेरिस में कैसे आ सकता है, कैसे ग्रो कर सकता
So first of all, the course that I took is not very conventional in India itself. Like most people don't go for a filmmaking course. So I wanted to do filmmaking because for the practical aspect, there are film study courses. So those are very theoretical that you can find in a lot of mass communication courses in India itself. And there are very good schools that provide so. And filmmaking schools like FTII and all here in India, which are good. And they have like you can get good industry connections once you go through that. But in my mind also, I also wanted to study somewhere outside. Otherwise, I could have tried for FTII and all. But for me, I wanted to go outside. So when I was looking for schools, because I was going completely novice into this, I had no idea like bahar कितने schools हैं क्या नहीं है, and personally I didn't want to pursue studies in US because it's very expensive. US is very expensive, not just because standard of living but also for studies. Like the filmmaking courses are the ones which do not have scholarship, so that people should keep in mind that most of the filmmaking courses, because they are mostly run privately, and secondly because these are not like technical courses, so in these courses, you don't really get scholarships. So if students in India who want to come study filmmaking or practical film course should keep in mind that the courses won't provide them with scholarship. Mostly, that's what my knowledge is about this thing. And secondly, that the fees comparatively to film schools in America and the UK is lower in Europe. So that's why I zeroed down my research for film schools in European Union, because I knew that the fee structure will be lower as compared to if I go to UK or if I go to US. There are good film schools like Berlin Film School in Germany also, which is very good. Then there is Met Film School, which is in Germany as well as UK. But it's very hard to get into these schools. I tried, but I didn't get it. But then I had few French film schools also. The problem in Europe is that most of the schools run these courses in their own language, so it's hard to find a film school which runs in English. So then I found the school that I did my master's in, which is ICAR. Otherwise, in France, the number one film school is La Femis. So if anyone speaks French and they want to pursue filmmaking in France, I think they should go for La Femis because it's an amazing school and they can get really good connections through that school. But then because I didn't speak French, so I chose to go for an English speaking course. So I found this school, and my master's was for 2 years. And I think people should keep a budget for at least more than 15,000 euros per year as their tuition fees in filmmaking, at least.
So like 15,000 euro for the year, like for the tuition fees only.
Yeah,
And
only tuition fees, not your living costs, not your rent or your groceries, nothing like that. Just your school fee, your tuition fee here will cost at least 15,000 euros for a film course at least. That's what my experience is. Maybe things have changed. Either but fees must have increased or reduced, or maybe there are also people who provide scholarships. But when I was trying, there were very few chances to get a scholarship in this field.
I think in France, it's how it's. I mean, how it's divided is if you're going for any kind of business program or if you're going for any kind of technical course,
Yeah.
you would require to pay like a minimum of 15,000 euros per year. That's their course fee. And if you are going for like a public university like sciences and all, and if you're going for research oriented courses,
So like Sorbonne,
and like even PhD like PPD and APE, then these are the name of the two courses. So if you're going for these courses, then your course fee is almost equivalent to zero. Because they find.
If you go for public universities like Sorbonne, which is the most famous one, it is almost negligible.
Like it depends upon the course. Like
Sciences Po is like partially they can fund it, partially you will have to put your own money, because at the end of the day it's also private.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
when it's private, then full fees. I mean, you might not have to pay the full fee, but there has to be some amount that you have to pay.
But otherwise, if you're going for public university, you have to go for that. And you're going for a course which is mostly research. You're going for a course which is more related with science or political science or anything like that, then the fee is zero. But if you're going for the technical course or if you're going for business program, you have to have that kind of expectation that the fees is around to be 15,000 euros per annum. Now, over that, it is subjective whether you get a scholarship or not, whether your university provides scholarship or not. Like
there are like government scholarships also, like Charpak.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I said that it's very lucrative for a student because when we come into this kind of prospects, what we didn't know before and now what we know now is that there's a lot of scholarships attached.
Okay.
If your university is not providing the scholarship, there's a lot of scholarship that has been done in association with the French government, which are provided to the Indian students.
I think all the students who wish to study in France should go to the Campus France website first. They have all the information, whether it's your visa, your requirements, or whether it's about what courses you should pick up, or what courses will provide you scholarship, or what scholarship the governments from both the countries are providing to students who wish to go to France. So I think Campus France is the one way everyone should go whenever they wish to study in France.
And additionally, it's also like why we say it is lucrative for an Indian student is after like this thing. I mean, after your postmasters. Like because you are an immigrant, so you need to understand that there is a period for which you will be given the student visa, which is only the time for which you are doing your masters. And a lot of time in a lot of other countries, the major contention is that you are not given the sponsorship of visa after you complete your master's, so you don't really have the period or the time to look out for a job. But this is not the case here. So this is like here because there is a collaboration of the Indian and the French government. So actually Indian students who have this certain type of courses which are known as RNCP certified courses are given
to
and Grand École. Like if your college is Grand École, Grand École is like one of the it is like a categorization of the top 10 colleges in France. So if you belong to them, then you are given a 2-year visa to search for, like 2-year post your masters to search for a job. So that's a big boost,
especially for Indians. And I think now it will be extended for like 5 years. But when that extension is going to happen,
it's a
I don't know. But it's going to be 5 years.
Okay. So like ये तो हमारे like the students who want to study, but there are many people जिन्हें like उन्हें study करने नहीं आना, but they got a job or they got a intern. So उनके perspective से I just wanted you to tell me कि वहाँ पे lifestyle कैसा है. Like आप इंडिया में देखोगे तो you like देखने को बड़ी आसानी से मिल जाता है कि आप सड़क पे चल रहे हो and someone just like ask you for a lighter.
In my experience, people have this view of France or Paris in general, not France, but Paris that people are rude or people are not nice to international people. Also, see, there are different kind of people everywhere, so you will find rude people here also. But at the same time, यहाँ पे अच्छे लोग भी हैं because इतना international crowd है यहाँ पे. There's so many international students. Half of the time, you're spending time with them. तो वो तो welcoming होते हैं. And in general, French people भी they're welcoming. Every day they see so many international people coming. वो सबके साथ तो rude नहीं रह सकते. It depends, and also it's like any big city. People are like in a rush to work, to do something, and they don't have the time to talk to you. They don't have the time to interact with you, which you will face here, especially if you don't know the language. If you know the language, then it's easier to mingle with people. But even then, French people are known that they take little time to open up with you. But at the same time, I have the different people, like some boulangeries, like the bakeries are very famous here. Like you go to bakeries and all bread and so from there, the people will like just greet you with a smile and they're very nice to you. Especially greeting is a big thing in Paris or France. Like in India, I feel like we don't greet as much as we do here. Like saying a bonjour, saying a bonsoir, saying a salut is so important here. Like even strangers will ask you how are you, even if it's just a formality.
even if you're like walking into a
Yeah.
room of full of people that you don't know,
Yeah.
it's a custom to say bonjour and everyone will respond.
Yeah,
bonjour
so it
back
can
to you.
be a conversation starter. Like you said, like if you ask for a lighter from someone and the conversation will start in India. Here it's the same. If you just say bonjour or you just come with a smile and all, and little bit of French, even if you try, people are open to talk to. It depends on other but दूसरे बंदे का दिन कैसा जा रहा है. If it's not a good day for them, then of course they're going to be rude with you. And there are people like that. There is no like ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि यहाँ पे अच्छे या बुरे. Plus, you said that people who come for jobs or internships and all, how they manage like their life here or something. I think their interns ka is almost similar to students. I feel like it's just that some students wouldn't be earning and interns will of course be earning, but it depends on how much you get in your internship. It can vary from 600 euros to 2000 euros for some people.
Yeah, I think it depends upon some kind of luck factor and then some kind of how you are as a person. Okay, so luck in the sense, I think when we all came to India, I believe like we are children of this protective environment. So we are always like, it was a bit of hesitance to go forward and to initiate a conversation, to go forward, even going to a grocery market and doing all kind of shopping on your own was a kind of like a new thing to take forward. To go to restaurants and eat by yourself. So I think we got lucky in the sense because we all stayed in a hostel. Yeah. And we found a good set of people all around and we helped each other to grow. So this is something which helped us. But I know
most people don't get that opportunity.
Yeah, most people don't get that kind of opportunity because they are on their own learning. Yeah. So that is where the luck came in because we never felt very alone or alienated. We never ever
but
felt.
It's very easy to feel lonely here because if you don't get like in a hostel but you just took an apartment or a student campus where people are not that interactive and you live by yourself, then it can get lonely because it will take time for you to settle in, make friends, and have your circle.
Exactly. And this might be the case for people who would be coming for a job or something because they would be having an independent life. So even having lead an independent life is somewhat different from what we see.
Student life is different. You go to university in your hostel. There's so many students. It's easier to make. But if you're just coming for internship and job, then it will be hard to make new friends.
I mean, it will take time.
Yeah.
So here it is dependent upon the kind of person you are. If you are an extrovert who can go around and who can initiate the conversations from the start, then you're good to go. But if you are someone who's going to take time, then it takes time. Like for us, it took time because first we opened up to our inner circle, who we made friends who were also from the same culture, and then we moved around. And then when we were comfortable enough in our own space, we found our own rhythm, and that's when we actually started to talk all around. And then we were comfortable to talk to strangers, like having a mix of both our culture.
For example, in India, as women, it's not easy for us to start a conversation on the street with anyone. We have to be
exactly.
But here you have a lot of freedom in that sense and safety. Like I feel coming from South Asia or India, I feel comparatively there's a huge difference. For example, even if I'm in a bus and I'm all alone, no one is in the bus, and 3-4 even like men get into the bus, I don't feel like threatened, or I don't feel that it's unsafe for me, or I should get down off the bus, or I should send my location to someone. It's very. But I think for women, your interactions and meeting people is much more easy. It's way easier here for women, I guess. Like in comparison to India, like for me, I felt a certain sort of freedom when I came.
ओके सो लाइक हम ये चीज कह सकते हैं कि पेरिस इज समथिंग कि जहाँ पे मतलब ओपन अप चीजें हैं लाइक इंडिया में वो ऑर्थोडॉक्स थोड़ा रह गया है अभी वी आर नॉट क्रिटिसाइजिंग बट लाइक कि
it's cultural
difference. Here we cannot avoid a lot of things is not even said to us, but we have that filters in our head. So but here we don't have that kind of filters because we are assured of the individuals we are. So it's like when we are going forward and we are talking, we know what we are expecting out of the conversation, what is not expected of the conversation. But that is something which is very uncertain in India. You cannot go on a street and talk to people. It's just not expected and you will never do it.
Plus, also, I think the perception that people are rude here comes from the fact that यहाँ पे ना लोग थोड़ा straightforward ज़्यादा like they won't mince their words. Like in India हम लोग
sugar coat हो जाता
हाँ हम लोग मीठी मीठी ही बात करते हैं एक दूसरे से इवन though हम लोग पीछे कुछ भी बोले बट इधर people don't sugarcoat much so that's why people think they are rude but actually they're just being
Yeah.
honest straightforward so I think वो थोड़ा हमको open mind के साथ आना पड़ेगा फिर anyway हर जगह हर टाइप के लोग
Yeah,
होते हैं
and it's not
हाँ.
something which would be particular to Paris.
and
Yeah.
Paris में भी ऐसी जगह है which are like so unsafe that you have to be on your toes if you go in those areas. Like you have to be vigilant enough कि you take care of yourself. Pickpocketing, mobile snatching, these things are very common here,
Yeah.
especially with tourists because people recognize who are not from here and are tourists. तो टूरिस्ट के साथ स्टूडेंट्स के साथ आई थिंक स्टूडेंट्स को ये रिसर्च करके आनी चाहिए कि इन द एरिया दैट दे आर टेकिंग देयर हाउसिंग बिकॉज फ्रॉम इंडिया दे डोंट नो वेयर दे गोना स्टे. So I made sure when I was coming here that I look up the areas which are not that safe to live because there are certain areas in Paris which are not safe and like there are chances of pickpocketing or theft in those
Yeah,
areas.
but it's just like it's not specific to a gender.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
It can happen to anyone. It can happen to anyone. And it is quite common in those areas. It's not like
I mean, something which we have realized here is like, as individuals and as women, we have grown a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. We have seen a significant improvement in both of us about how we are handling things, about how we are approaching. Now, this is, even when I went back to India, this was not something which, like, I felt like I was not being myself a lot.
Also, in India, student jobs का इतना culture नहीं है. Like people here can work in McDonald's, people here can work in grocery stores to manage their expenses, and it makes you.
हाँ लाइक मेरा नेक्स्ट कोई क्वेश्चन था आपसे कि जैसे हम इंडिया में करते हैं तो इंडिया में इट्स लाइक बहुत छोटा माना जाता है उन जॉब्स को कि लाइक इफ यू आर वर्किंग इन अ मैकडी और इफ यू आर वर्किंग इन जोमैटो एज अ डिलीवरी बॉय और समथिंग बट लाइक पेरिस में भी ऐसी ही है या पेरिस में से बहुत ओपन अप करके लिया.
That's the best thing about here that people don't judge you for the work that you do at all. You can do anything and everything that is there in professional world and people don't care. That is, people don't poke their nose first of all in other people's business. Yeah. That's the thing. Secondly, they respect everyone's work. Like you can be a sweeper or you can be someone in a company who's a CEO, but they won't treat you any different for the place of work you are doing. Yeah, or the place of work you are in. That I felt. And also I had so many students with me also that who used to do nanny work, who used to go out and work in grocery stores and McDonald's, and it's considered a very respectable job. Like it's not something you should think second. You should have second thoughts.
Yeah, as long as you are being independent, I think that is the thing which is respected. Like you are independent and you are like the thing is if you're doing something for your career. Like if you're achieving your career and you're being independent, then that is respected. How you're achieving that means how you're achieving your goal is not questioned. I think in India somewhere that thing comes into play. But what will people think? And log kya kahenge?
And also the expenses in India are not that much. As like for example, simple expenses like travel and groceries here it's very expensive. So अगर students आ रहे हैं हर किसी का background everyone is not rich कि आप बिना काम करे यहाँ पे अपना गुजारा कर लो. नहीं, आपको करना पड़ेगा because at the end of the day it is an expensive city and यहाँ पे खर्चा होगा और आपको उसके लिए anyway काम करना पड़ेगा. अगर आप उस thought process से इंडिया से भी आओगे ना कि मैं तो कभी मैकडॉनल्ड्स में काम नहीं करूंगा या मैं नहीं करूंगी मैं नहीं कर सकती. When you come here, situation will come that you will have to either you get a good job if you're lucky enough quickly, and if not, then of course you will have to within that time when you're looking for jobs or you are a student, you'll have to work in these places, and it's fine. It's totally fine. They pay you well. It's not like कि कुछ भी minimum pay बिल्कुल होता है. The labor security that is there and the rights as people working, the working class, they have a lot of rights here, even if you are an international student. बहुत चीजों का यहाँ पे है. आई थिंक एज इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स इंडिया में मैं खुद हिचकती थी कि मैं कहीं ऐसे काम करूं या फिर अगर पे कम है तो नहीं करना है या फिर ऑफिस में काम करना है ये से कहीं काम नहीं करना. वो आके यहाँ पे हमारे भी बैरियर्स लाइक we had those barriers.
We had a lot of barriers which got pushed here. Like you were always brought with a question like, does it make sense to have that question if you are actually it is helping you to achieve what you want to achieve? Does it make sense to question that action? Does it make sense? So at the end, I think this should be true for any kind of immigrant or any kind of international student who's coming to work in abroad. You have to be flexible.
Yeah.
Either you come from a very rich or a privileged family,
Yeah.
or you come here, you make your means, you understand about what is the need, what is the demand, where are your goals, and you work accordingly towards that. So it will all make sense if you are going to achieve the goal you are designed. You have designed for yourself. It might not make sense in the middle. It might not. It might look confusing only to you, only if you are not making so that it is good to you.
Okay. तो लाइक दी आप दोनों साथ में ही रहते हो या you guys have different apartments?
We live separately.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were actually living in a hostel,
Yeah.
which is known as like CIUP,
Yes.
which is basically a hub of different international students. So they have a different hostels. Like, so there's one USA hostel, one there is Belgium hostel, and ours was Indian hostel. And then after our masters got over, we were asked to move out, and then both of us
got separate. You can only live there until you're a student or you're interning.
Yeah.
After that, you have to move out of the student.
So like the आप मतलब hostel में भी रह चुके हो और like now you are living in an apartment also. So like कोई roughly idea आप मुझे बता सकते हो कि just like इतना expense तो होता ही होता है. Like इंडिया में it's basic need कि आपको दूध bread चाहिए ही चाहिए. So like in Paris वो expenditure कितना हो सकता है like in euros कि कितना एक महीने का expenditure हो सकता है so that a student going or applying तो वो tuition fees तो चलो एक परमानेंट चीज है ही और शी हैव टू गिव इट बट एक एक्सपेंसेस को देख के चल सकता है कि उसे टोटल इन टोटल कितना लगेगा.
आई थिंक स्टूडेंट शुड कीप इन माइंड कि यहाँ पे दो वे ऑफ लिविंग है हाउसिंग में. एक होता है कोलोकेशंस, एक होता है इंडिविजुअल हाउसिंग. तो कोलोकेशंस होता है जिसमें एक तरीके से शेयर्ड अपार्टमेंट होता है. अगर 3 बेडरूम्स है तो 3 लोग रह रहे हैं एक बेडरूम लेकर एंड दे शेयर द अपार्टमेंट. वो थोड़ा कैन कॉस्ट यू चीपर as compared to taking an individual apartment. I mean, range within Paris can be from 600 euros to even like 1000 euros. Like it depends to the area आप किधर रह रहे हो and to the house आप किधर रह रहे हो. Second is अगर आपने individual room लिया है, अपना studio apartment लिया है type और अपना simple अपना खुद का apartment, so mostly students will take a studio apartment. तो पेरिस में क्या स्ट्रक्चर है कि सबसे ऊपर का फ्लोर होता है बिल्डिंग्स का, वो कहलाता है chambre de bonne. So like historically those places were for people who used to work in the buildings or in the houses of the people, for the servants. So these were like very small apartments, like 9 meters square, 10 meters square, 12 meters square. So अब these apartments are mostly rented out to students. तो इनका कॉस्ट अराउंड अगेन आपको 600 से लेके 800 यूरोस तक का पड़ सकता है. एंड डिपेंड्स कि उसमें आपके चार्जेस जैसे जो वाईफाई या फिर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी हीटिंग इंक्लूडेड है या नहीं. इंक्लूडेड किसी कुछ अपार्टमेंट्स में इंक्लूडेड होती है, कुछ में भी. फॉर एग्जांपल मैं जिस एरिया में रहती हूँ थोड़ा एक्सपेंसिव एरियाज में आ जाता है, इट्स 16th अराउंड दिस मॉल, और वहाँ पे थोड़ा स्टूडियोज महंगे पड़ सकते हैं. तो मेरे को इट्स कॉस्ट अराउंड 700 euros, बट इट इंक्लूड्स ऑल अदर चार्जेस. इलेक्ट्रिसिटी हीटिंग वाटर इज इंक्लूडेड इन दोस चार्जेस. So I don't have to pay anything else beyond 700.
So like for food and other stuff,
I mean, if I divide like the basic expenditure of a student should be around 800 euros.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it includes housing, food, groceries, and also like if 1 or 2 you want to go out per month. So 600 to 800 euros per month. I'm telling you. Okay. Now, if we talk about housing, as she was explaining, either you go for individual housing, but what I will suggest to students is to go for student housing.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of places you can get student housing here. There's a lot of opportunities to get that. The place where we were living, CIUP, is one of the best
places. I think any student
like has to try for
CIUP. And there is a specific Indian house only for Indian students. So Indian students can apply to that house, and there are chances you will get in. You have to go through an application process, but it's going to be very cheap as compared to other housing. Like for us, it was between 400 to 500 euros, which is very cheap for any other housing in Paris. And you get to live in Paris because most of the students don't live in Paris. This is a misconception that you will get in housing because Paris housing is very difficult to find.
Yeah.
So mostly students live in the outskirts of Paris, which is like the suburbs. And they travel from the suburbs to Paris every day for college or work.
So
Okay.
if you get the student housing, like even if you are not able to get in CIUP, which is citizen
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And if you're not able to get in it, then the second option for student housing is also cruise. Cruise is like generally
Yeah.
given to students who are coming for masters, and they're given a specific designation known as the CROUS cruise, and there's a specific cruise housing which goes around Paris, which is also inside Paris. So now, if you are able to attain that, then your expenses for housing will drastically reduce because it would be around 600 or less than 600. Okay. And then for groceries, it's gonna be, it depends upon how you want to, but the max to max should be 100 to 120 euros. Like we didn't used to spend that much. It takes time for you to also understand that okay, this can be used or this cannot be.
But if you're an Indian student, especially vegetarian, then you will spend more on groceries because it's hard to find vegetarian food.
Yeah.
तो उसके लिए you will have to spend. और plus students have to keep in mind कि French government also has a scheme for housing which is called CAF. तो जैसे ही आप यहाँ आते हो, first thing is to make sure that your housing falls for that CAF. आप कैफ के लिए गवर्नमेंट की वेबसाइट पे अप्लाई करो तो वो एक हाउसिंग असिस्टेंस गवर्नमेंट स्टूडेंट्स को देती है फॉर एग्जांपल इफ यू आर पेइंग लाइक 500 euros रेंट सो गवर्नमेंट विल मेक श्योर दैट उस 500 का 100 to like 200 euros government pay करेगी.
Exactly. So for me it was 200 because I get to with it, which I mean either it was school or either because I was getting scholarship from the school. So for my amount which I was getting back was 200 euros. So imagine I'm paying 400 to 25 or something, and then
200 is being paid
back by the government. So the only amount which is going for the rent is 200. So that's how safe.
Okay. So like अगर हम मोटे मोटा बात करेंगे तो okay. So 800 euros per month will be okay for a student to live in.
Okay. Yeah. 1,000 it comes like for a person who is trying to live thoda sa like student, you are still like you will try to be
also for like travel like metros and all there's a student card you can get here which is cheaper as compared to a normal like normal metro card here. वो स्टूडेंट पे आपको मिलता है प्लस यहाँ पे बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट डिस्काउंट्स होते हैं फॉर एग्जांपल इफ यू वांट टू गो वॉच मूवीज तो मूवीज में भी अगर आप 26 से कम की एज के हो तो आपकी टिकट की कॉस्ट हाफ होगी फॉर एग्जांपल द टिकट इज कॉस्टिंग like 10 euros फॉर यू इट विल बी कॉस्ट like 6 euros as a student.
Yeah, so these are the a few benefits which are given by the government specifically to students.
Yeah, so you can enjoy a lot of like you कहते हैं ना artistic hub एक तरीके से Paris because they give so much like Paris is one of the only cities I guess museums are free for students completely. Yeah. You can if you're under 26 and you're a student you can go to any museum for free.
Yeah,
and so that's how they like put in the culture of going out for art and everything. Cinema at the same time साल में ऐसे days आते हैं where your tickets won't be for more than 4 euros for any movie that you want to watch in Paris. So ऐसे culture and then पूरे time यहाँ पे shows exhibitions इतने होते हैं कि there is something to do and see every day. Yeah. So as a student life, you will enjoy those extracurricular things a lot.
Exactly. And
so like government is promoting creativity and art there.
Yeah, people are not aware, but France for students is a very nice country.
It's for researchers also.
Yeah.
Because this is the same thing which is applied to researchers.
Yeah.
And if you're below 26, like let's just say, because below 26, and if you're a student, like they are giving a lot of benefits.
Yeah.
Even like in the transport system, like it's a very clear distinction.
Yeah.
As a student, you are just asked to pay 36 euros, and if you are not a student, or if you are not below 26, then you have to pay 86 euros. You see the difference, 36, 86, and per month. So I think a lot of things which a student will himself or herself discover when they come here, that the French government really tries to promote for specific for students. But of course, at the end, it depends upon how a person is well aware of the fact about where they can utilize. Like a lot of us were surrounded by each other, so we were getting to know about all these things together only.
Okay.
There's so many
like easy भी हो जाता है.
हाँ. Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups, students के लिए हर जगह है यहाँ पे. You can get on that and get information, and people will help you out.
You have to be aware.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is a very common thing for any person who is going to live in abroad, and especially as a student, you have to be aware about what is going around, because of course you have been living for your first 20 years in your home place, and additionally you are living in an environment in which all the responsibilities are not given to you straight ahead. You have a habit of going and discussing with your parents, but this is not something which would be here. So you have to be aware. The only thing which will help you around is to be aware and to be quick.
Okay.
Act upon it.
So like अब थोड़ा एंडिंग पे आते हैं दी. आपका फ्यूचर एस्पेक्ट या फ्यूचर स्कोप क्या है कि लाइक यू वांट टू स्टे इन पेरिस, आपको वहीं पे जॉब करनी है, या यू वांट कि नहीं मुझे यहाँ पे जॉब नहीं करनी है, आई वांट टू मूव टू अनदर कंट्री, और यू वांट टू कम बैक टू इंडिया कि नहीं मैं इंडिया में ही जॉब वगैरह करूंगी. सो लाइक फ्यूचर एस्पेक्ट क्या है कि जॉब करनी है या यू वांट टू स्टडी मोर लाइक पीएचडी और समथिंग. सो उसके बारे में थोड़ा बताओ.
For me, when I came here, my plan was like only 2 years. I'll do my masters and go back to India, because I was like, I just came for the experience as an international student, and then I'll go back. But after like 6 months of living here, I realized that okay, I think I want to stay and look for work here also, because यहाँ का भी culture entices you to stay here. I mean, of course, you feel lonely at times and you feel homesick. And हमारे India में there's so many things which are plus. Like especially in terms of food and service and everything, like and technologically we are so advanced in compared to France. Like people will think France is a developed country, so they will be so technologically advanced, but no,
that goes
nothing in comparison to India. Like payments and all, here people are still doing just card payment or cash. India is like you can make payments anywhere, like UPI, Paytm, and it's so easy. But इधर तो कुछ नहीं. Those are a big struggle. So that made me a big question whether I want to stay here or not. But I guess because I have the opportunity for look for work, thanks to the visa, so I want to like look for work. At least this year, I want to see if I can get some opportunities here and test the waters. And if I know, that will be a reality check for me that I should go back. But definitely, I want to, and I'm looking forward to get opportunities. Like I'm looking finger crossed to work in Olympics. But if that doesn't happen, then there are other opportunities open, and I'm being positive that I get some work. Let's see.
Yeah. I mean, at the end, the ROI of pursuing a master's in any abroad nation is to have to find an opportunity. Also, you have to invest in 2 years or 3 years at a place.
Yeah.
So you have now adjusted a bit that work until you always have that mindset that I have to go back home. You don't have the mindset. The ROI makes sense to invest your time here and to find an opportunity. Now, so my goal was always to find an opportunity, but now because I have a PhD option to go forward to, so I'm struggling whether I want to go for PhD or whether I want to stay back in Nashik to do the.
So like you are still deciding कि PhD pursue करनी है or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end you are also feel like you don't want to push yourself too much in a struggle. So for me, that is the question: whether having PhD as a future will make sense or not, or whether I should still test the waters and do and search for a job and all that stuff. But yeah, I think at the end the ROI is to look around. For any person, it would be to look around and to invest few years of your job in that nation to understand about how it is different from the other, like where you're coming from, which is India, and whether it makes sense. And because at the end, a lot of people make the decision to go back also, because they are like, they don't want to be away from the family, they don't want to be away from their friends, which might be a priority later on. But in the instant, priority is to have that kind of satisfaction to have the job. It is also a kind of you feel achievement that you came to pursue a master's and you were able to find a job in that required field. Yeah, I mean, let's hope.
I mean, job market is a struggle in India and here both.
Yeah.
And especially if you're an international student, it will be a little more for you. But I think it's worth to give a try, at least, because we've invested, as she said, you've invested so much time and money to come here. So why not give it a try? But yeah, it depends on everyone's financial situation also. they can take time off to look for work and have enough financial backing, or they have a part time so that they can support them.
And then I also feel like it depends upon how what the individual experience is.
Yeah.
I think like I have come across people who didn't have that kind of good experience in Paris, and
Yeah.
they wanted to go back. Like
Mm.
they were waiting to go back. Yeah,
Yeah.
to get over. I want to go back. But we are people, and the kind of environment that we were in for that first 2 years, we enjoyed like anything.
Yeah.
I as a person never had that kind of enjoyment or any that kind of as a like I never saw me as that kind of person in India. Right now, I feel like I'm a different person, and I think it has to be the credit has to be given to the kind of environment that we were in and the opportunity that we were having.
Yeah. If people get the chance and also have the support to come here, they should definitely try. I mean, there are good and bad experiences everywhere. So सबके personal experience पे depend करता है. Maybe we were lucky enough that we had a better experience, and there might be people who will say the other one.
Yeah.
And they might have gone back, and there are days when you feel like you just want to go back. There will be times that you feel lonely and down and stressed because you're not just looking for jobs. You have to pay your rents, and you have to look into the administrative work because यहाँ पे administrative work बहुत है. Official work आपको paperwork बहुत करना है.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of time and it is stressful. तो वो सब अगर आप हैंडल कर सको and आप प्रिविलेज्ड हो, या तो आपके पास बैकिंग है इतनी कि आप यहाँ पे टाइम दे सको, या फिर आप अपने एक्सपेंसेस के लिए आपके पास जॉब है.
The willingness, willing. I mean, the thing at the end is कि flexible होना चाहिए और willingness होना चाहिए. आपके पास और strength होना चाहिए. फिर भी कर लेंगे. Even like right now, we, as two individuals who are living in individual houses, having individual parts of life to cover around, we are facing our own struggles.
Yeah.
But just because we had these first 2 years of good environment and good that thing, we are longing on to that. We are like we are sure things will improve. These are the 3-4 things that a student should be assured before coming anywhere, not in Paris. Anywhere.
कहीं भी, like even in India, they can feel the same thing.
Yeah, they can feel like if you are going away from
Your city.
Your city.
Okay, Di. So it's very nice talking to you both. ठीक है, thank you for being my guest on बैठक. I hope to see you soon because मैं इसी का like हमारे पास थोड़ा सा फंड रेज टाइप होने वाला है. So हम ट्राई करेंगे कि इसे हम ऑफलाइन टर्न ऑफ करें, एंड ऑफलाइन होता है तो देन आई विल लेट यू नो, एंड आप लोगों को आना पड़ेगा इंडिया फॉर दैट शूट. एंड thank you so much. With this, we end this podcast here on Patak. I guess you gave a lots of knowledge to our viewers and to our audience. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Sean, for inviting us. It was also a good opportunity for us because we, as people, we have done this discussion 1,000 times.
That we want to talk about.
We want to talk about this. We want to tell people about what has been our experiences and what they should see, what they should not see.